Well, hey, my name is Dustin, and hey, I'm elated to talk about our topic tonight. And for a lot of you, when you hear about dating, which is what I'm going to talk about, there's a lot of you that just aren't interested in that, and you're thinking, not now, not for me, maybe like later. I don't know about listening to that in a church. And some of you are just not in that place where it's real relevant for you. All the while, there are some of you that perked up and you're like, okay, all right, it's about time. Start talking about something that I want to hear. And you are wildly interested in dating because this is like something you're curious about right now, you're kind of inching towards right now. And regardless for you, whether or not dating is like in your horizon currently, or it's like so far down the road that it's not even something to think about, I think this will be a message helpful for you one way or the other. So kind of lock in with me. I think there'll be some things for you to hang on to. Let me first just talk to the ladies in the house and see if I can make a connection here. Ladies, have you ever been in a place where you know where a guy is that you're attracted to? Like you know where he's at in the room. Maybe it's at school, maybe it's at church, maybe it's like right now. It may not even be your crush. You just kind of taken a little bit of a survey of where the attractive guys are, and you know where they're at. At any given moment, you're like, yep, I know. Like, you don't even need to look right now. You keep looking up here, but you know where they're at. Like, you've kind of, and some of you know where they're at because you know their schedule. There's a couple of you, like, you know, like, where they sit and when they leave, and if at school, you know, like, when they're walking down the halls at certain times. You know, you're aware of what's going on. You know what's happening with that. Have you ever been caught, though, when you whatever that is, attractive guy, you see him, and he's like doing, maybe he's adjusting his hair. You know, he's doing one of these things, right, this, a lot of this going on. If I had hair, I would do that. If I had hair that would do this, like there's a lot of guys with a lot going on, and they're just like constantly doing this. But have you ever been looking at a guy like adjusting, and all of a sudden like he looks right at you at the same time that you're looking at him, and you're caught? You ever been caught staring at the guy that you don't even need to raise your hand? I know there's a bunch of you ladies that you've done that. You've been caught staring. And what I'm really curious about, some of you, if you've been caught staring, yes. Have you ever been caught drooling? You just kind of lost control. Like your mouth just stayed open for a minute and just drooled. I know there's some, raise your hand if that's you. Ladies, there's anyone out here? Zero, okay, we got one. I got one honest person there. I know that's happened. Here's what I know about what goes on in the mind is, ladies, if you've been in one of those situations where you've been caught staring or you've just done something dumb around a guy, very common, very normal. I get to why here in a minute. For the guys, let me talk to the guys for a minute, because I know there's guys, same thing, like you know where the ladies are. You dressed accordingly. You're ready to go. But have you ever just had the courage, all right, today's the day. I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to use words. I'm going to string together words in a sentence with her. Like this is your attempt at being courageous. And you do. You think of what you're going to say, and words are just broken. You say words, they don't come out right. And you thought you had more game than you really do. Any guys there that you've been around a girl that you're attracted to, and somehow like your brain just stopped functioning when she came around? Well, I think this is the case for almost all guys and all girls for all of existence, that when it comes to dating, when it comes to romance, we're a little dumb, right? We're a little dumb, and I don't think there's much exception to that. I certainly am not the exception. When I noticed this girl, I was a sophomore in college, and I thought she was really pretty, and she was sitting in a class in a row in front of me, And I thought we talked a little bit, like small talked a little bit, and I thought I'd use this line on her because every day she'd come into class and she'd just put lotion on. She was always putting lotion on. And so there's this line from a movie called The Sandlot, which you probably haven't seen before, but if you have, kudos to you. And it's like when Squints is watching the lifeguard and she's putting lotion on and like it drives him crazy. So I say this to her, I say, why are you always lotioning and oiling and lotioning? Was the first thing that I really remember saying to her. And some of you right now are like, what is wrong with you? I know. I know. However, that led me to a first date. So somehow that worked. First date, some of you may know, my first date was, don't clap yet because you don't know where we're going on our first date. First, it wasn't, someone say Sonic? Sonic. Better than that. Our first date was at a cemetery at night while it was raining. And you're like, what were you doing at a cemetery at night? Murder. What we were doing there was playing glow-in-the-dark football. Because as I stated before, something is broken in our brains with dating, and it certainly was the case in my life. So but that date ended up working out. Okay, I started looking through. It was like when we were dating, we would write notes to each other and go back and forth, and I started looking through some of them. Guys, I want to tell you, they're gross. These are ridiculous. And I don't want to share any of these with you, but I feel like I must. I feel like I must. So, all right, just to give you an example of how broken my brain was in that. All this says in it is like almost nothing, and all it says is, I can't breathe without you. This one just says, I think about you. That's it. All right. This one kind of takes the cake. I promise you, I don't remember writing this. I don't remember the subject line. It's in an email. This is what it says. I call her baby doll in this. Ask her. I have never called her baby doll in my life. But somehow I have evidence that I called her right here, baby doll, and yeah, it's disgusting. Ended up marrying that girl, by the way. Yeah. Somehow it all works out. I don't know. Hey, what I know about me and what I have observed about a lot of people in my life is that we cannot be trusted. When it comes to the opposite sex, we cannot be trusted. It's like something about our reason and logic and our thinking just malfunctions when we get around one another. And since that's the case for me, it will likely be the case for you. I wanted to give you a couple of questions that you can utilize when you decide dating's an important part of your life. Maybe that's now, maybe that's down the road. I just want to give you 3 questions, and these are the 3 questions that I want you to have so that you can ensure your dating relationship does not become complete and total catastrophes. 3 questions for you is all I'm going to leave, and I hope these will be helpful questions for you. I'm going to have you chew them up mostly in group tonight, but I'll give you these questions here. And before I give you those, I want to kind of lay the foundation for where these are rooted in. And one of the coolest stories when it comes to Jesus and the kind of the simplicity of how Jesus really brings everything into a point. He was talking to a religious leader, and this religious leader is like, hey, Jesus, if you could summarize like the most important thing in the world at the time, the 10 Commandments, he's like, what would you rate those? Like, how would you prioritize that? If you're just to make the the most important. And Jesus said this famously, Mark chapter 12, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. I think what Jesus was stating was a priority for everybody that lives. And if you're someone who comes here and you're at church and you're not really bought into Jesus yet, kind of on the outside, you're just visiting or you show up, but you're just not sure what you believe, I still think this will be a good roadmap for you. I think it'll be something for you to consider. But Jesus is essentially telling us that the foundation for every relationship you have, be it friendship or romantic relationship, needs to start first and foremost with God at the top. That God is the most important person that we love and follow. And then out of that, out of the overflow of our love for God, we can have relationships rightly with other people. What ends up happening, though, honestly, is that there's a lot of people that rearrange this a little bit, and they say, I know God, but my girlfriend or my boyfriend actually becomes the most important, and when that's disordered, everything else becomes catastrophic. When Jesus is not first in our life, and then we have these other relationships that we're dating that actually become first in our life, they actually become God to us. And when someone else other than God is God, your life will never work out the way that God has designed it to be. And so let us just start with that the priority for God is that he would be the number one in our life, that we'd have this ongoing relationship where we are loved by him and we love him, not perfectly, but we continue to learn in that regard. So here's the 3 questions I want to throw at you, starting with number 1, where am I with Jesus? Where am I with Jesus? Now, I think this is a tricky question. Jesus asked his disciples a question like this. He asked them 2 questions. He says, hey, who do people say that I am in Matthew? And then his disciples, he said, no, I mean, that's cool, but who do you say that I am? And I think the most important question, in my opinion, that you will ask in your life of yourself is this question: who is Jesus to me? So where am I with Jesus? This is your question, by the way. So you're hanging on this. You're not concerned about where I am, but where you are. Where am I with Jesus? Now, this visual in the background, I hope, can be helpful for you. And if it's not helpful for you, if it confuses you, ditch it. Don't worry. But this is helpful for me to think in terms of where I might be with Jesus. And you can kind of see that we're talking about 2 opposite ends here. You've got flaky and faithful. Flaky and faithful. And you probably understand what those mean, that if flaky is the way that you're describing your faith in Jesus, that you're not really committed and it's just kind of a part of your Sunday every once in a while, and you're really not under the leadership of Jesus. That's okay. But I would caution you, if this is the case, if this is the way that you describe your current relationship with Jesus, is it's more flaky, I just caution you, maybe dating's not in the cards right now. Maybe dating's not a good idea right now. And so maybe ask it like this: where am I trending? Where am I trending? Am I trending towards faithfulness? Am I trending towards, other way around there. Am I trending towards faithfulness, or am I trending towards flakiness? Where am I trending? What would the people say about my life? The way that I communicate, the way that I speak, the way that I treat other people, my habits. Do I genuinely try my best? Do I love God? Where am I with Jesus? Second question, a lot like it, where are they with Jesus? Where am I with Jesus? Where are they with Jesus? Same passage, Matthew, applies to them. Who do you say that I am? Who do you say that I am? Where are they with Jesus? Once again, this is really tricky. Sometimes it's hard to tell where other people are with Jesus, but if you were just to be able to look and evaluate the fruit of their life, Bible talks a lot about the fruit of our lives for the Christians. If you're a Christian, there should be fruit that comes about from the way that you live your life. People should be able to see There's joy, there's love, there's peace, there's patience, there's kindness that exudes from you because of your devotion to Jesus. Where are they with Jesus? This is the one that if you're kind of tracking with me right now, this one might be debatable for you. You're like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that because I'm not sure that's a big deal to me. And all I'm saying is if it's not a big deal to you, if where you're at with Jesus is a big deal and where they're at with Jesus isn't a big deal, I think I would pause. I think I'd ask some people around you what they think about that, people that are following Jesus. I wouldn't necessarily just jump right into a relationship with someone else. I know that many of you are thinking, well, it's just high school. It's just a high school relationship. It's no big deal. Or I'm just attracted to that person. They're nice. They're good people. All that might be true. But remember, premise number one, everything is rooted in our relationship with Jesus. Where am I with Jesus? Third question we ask ourselves is, who can help me? Who will help me? Proverbs, if you've not read any parts of Proverbs, is like a perfect book for those in high school because it's about wisdom, it's about making good choices, it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. And this particular passage in chapter 12, verse 15 says, the way of fools seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. Let me suggest for you a couple of people that can help you as you're building what I'll call wise counsel, people that'll give you advice. Wise counsel would be number one, parents, number two, coaches, number three, friends. Parents, coaches, friends. And let me define wise because some of you are thinking, you don't know my parents. You don't know my friends. You don't know my coach. Probably great coaches. I think wise can be defined like this. It's someone who knows God's ways and practices them. Like they know what God says and they practice them. And if you were to surround yourself with people that can speak into your relationships, if when you're ready to start dating, you would pay attention to their faith and where they're at with Jesus, and you would primarily be concerned about your faith and where you're at with Jesus, I think success in relationships are up ahead. You know, my wife and I, over the past 22 years of marriage, I think we've just used these same things. I think we've just continued to lean into my faith and her faith, and together we sharpen and challenge and love each other. But we also have wise people around us. We've got wise counsel at this stage of our life too, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to our finances, when it comes to just the struggles of life. We've got people that are surrounding us. We've got good friends. We've got people that are further along the journey than us. And that is the wise counsel that we still have. And so let me go over these one more time. Number one, where am I with Jesus? Number two, where are they with Jesus? And number three, who can help me? Let me pray for you. Father, thank you for tonight and for our students, praying that your word and your practices will be put in the forefront of their minds. God, I pray that the discussion tonight would be helpful wherever they're at in the dating world right now, whether they're involved in it or not, that you'd begin to build for them good habits and good patterns in dating. Father, we love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.